Beautiful day, springtime, love it. Anyway, so today we're going to be applying some Pre-Emergent. So a new product has just come out called Freehand, which is going to be available at Bunnings for you guys, which is seriously so awesome. But we're going to be applying it today over at Matt's place. So let's get into it. Yo mate, what up? Welcome to another lawn tip vid. Alright, so we are finally back at Matt's house. So today we're putting out a Pre-Emergent herbicide because it's springtime and weeds are going to start germinating soon in his lawn. Matt's got a few problems with a few weeds here, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But yeah, this is the product we're using today. This is Freehand Herbicide. So BASF and Amgrow have come together to put this product together to bring out to Bunnings as well, which is awesome. So it's got two actives in it. It's got pendimethalin, which is basically going to inhibit cell division, and it's also going to stop, it's going to prevent roots and shoots from your plant as well. And on top of that, it's got some dimethylamide, struggling with that pronunciation, dimethylamide P, which is going to also inhibit cell division as well. So two actives in there, which is going to be great. So it's going to prevent a lot of weeds. So you got to remember, this is going to prevent weeds. It's not going to get rid of existing weeds that are already in your soil, but it's going to be great for your warm season turf types like zoysia, buffalo, cooch, and your kikuyu, like we've got just here. And it's also going to be good, which is really, really handy for your garden beds, which we'll talk about in a minute, and I'm going to apply it in my garden beds at home as well. Right, so these are the containers here. So it is a granular product. It's not actually a liquid. So most of the time I've used liquids at home. So granular products are great because they're very easy to apply. You could even do it by hand if you really wanted to. One of those little hand spreaders from Bunnings. I'm going to use my broadcast spreader today, my walk behind one. But yeah, the rate on this is 1 kilo, treats up to 100 square meters. So that's 1 kilo just there. That's the sizes they're going to come in. But yeah, always make sure you wear your gloves when you're handling this sort of stuff, because it is still a herbicide. Better safe than sorry. So, let's take the lid off. As you can see, very small little prill on that bad boy just there. It's very small actually, so I'm going to have to be putting that on a low setting on my spreader when I put it out. But yeah, granule size, that little thing is going to treat 100 square meters, which is awesome. So Matt's got in his backyard about 200 square meters, so we're going to put out 2 of these today here. So the product itself is going to last 3 months. Now that always depends on your soil type, your climate. So say if it's a bit hotter or you're getting a lot of rain, we'll break down a little bit easier. So 2 to 3 months, worst case scenario is going to be 2 months, but you get up to 3 months control with that product there, which is awesome. And it actually controls 60 different types of weeds. So that's why they've got those 2 actives in there. It's because it's going to control so many weeds. 60 is a lot. When you look at the back of the label, you can see there's so many weeds listed there, which is just, mate, it's insane. So as you guys know, I've used Pre-Emergent herbicides for quite a few years. Cool that they've got a granule form coming out in Bunnings. It's going to be really, really handy and accessible to a lot of people. And the reason we want to put a Pre-Emergent herbicide down is because, one, we're going to prevent those weeds, so we don't have to continually spray post-emergent herbicides in our lawn, like our weed and feeds and just our general post-emergent herbicides. But also, since we've got all those weeds out of there, that's going to allow our lawn to thrive and also take up a lot more nutrients instead of competing for nutrients with those weeds that can sometimes be in your soil. Dirty dogs. So for the best results with this product, and the same with any other Pre-Emergent as well, is you want to try and have rid of the weeds that are existing there already before you put this product down. Now you don't have to, but you are going to get the best and optimum results. As we can see, Matt has some clover just here. Not you dirty boy. A little bit of cudweed. What else we got around here? He's got a little bit of thistle, more thistle. So he's mostly got broadleaf weeds here, so that Pre-Emergent herbicide is going to prevent those, but it's not going to kill those weeds that are existing there. So Matt's going to have to do that later in the season. This kikuyu tends to choke out most of those weeds anyway. But he has got a little bit of ryegrass hanging out just here. So it will stop that. If he applies this in autumn, it will stop that stuff germinating next time as well. Next autumn. This is all weeds that come up in the winter time mostly, and the dreaded winter grass, Poa annua. So this product is going to be great at preventing that poa coming up in your lawn as well. But of course you have to apply that before that stuff germinates, which is in autumn. So what we're going to be preventing now is going to be a lot of grassy weeds, like for example summergrass, crow's foot. That's the reason we're putting this out now in springtime, which Matt tends to deal with a lot of summergrass here. Yes, many a times he's had summergrass in this yard. But yeah, that's what we're getting it out now. And then we'll probably reapply it again in autumn. Generally here we do that around start of March, because we start cooling off pretty quickly, to prevent all of the poa, because as you can see, it's like winter grass galore back here. Sorry Matt, and I'm showing all the bad spots in your lawn. But yeah, lots and lots of poa. So just a couple of things that are listed on the label here, just to be aware of. As I spoke about earlier, when you're putting it in garden beds and stuff, you can use it in your garden beds. You just got to be aware of ornamentals under stress. So don't apply it to bare roots, otherwise you could potentially do some damage. Try not to get it on the foliage of the plant as well, because you can get what they basically call like leaf burn, so leaf spots on there from the herbicide hitting it. So if it ever does hit any leaves, my wife always bags me about saying leaves on the plants, make sure you wash it off so you don't get any like leaf burn as well. And yeah, you'll have a look at the label, because it's going to tell you what ornamentals are sensitive and it's safe with as well. So the label's going to tell you most of the info that you need to know. But I'll tell you what's really handy that's good for garden beds, because I struggle with weeds in my garden beds big time. So I can see here it's safe with azaleas as well. Just having a quick squiz, which I've got azaleas in my garden bed. It doesn't say anything here about camellias, but it does say if your species isn't listed on here, make sure to do a little test area with a small amount and see how it responds. So on the label it says you can do test spots and see how your plant responds. So I might do a little test spot on the camellias as well, but yeah. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention as well is don't apply within 2 weeks of leaf bud break on your plants as well, or when they're actively growing like your plants, because again, can potentially do some damage. And then you can't also use this in greenhouses either, or where there's not like constant airflow as well, just because again, it can create issues. Alright, so just make sure you're wearing gloves when using this stuff, because it's the smart thing to do, as it says to do it on the label. But yeah, so we're going to put this in here, spread it out, probably on the lower setting. So make sure you're doing this on a day that is not windy, because you want to get an even application. It's like when I talk about anything, liquids, granules, especially these ones because they're quite fine. You want to be putting it out on a pretty non-windy day. What was I trying to say? I don't know. Like today is still as, which is awesome. It's not one of those spring days which are windy as. But yeah, make sure you don't also put it down on wet grass, because it will stick to the leaf and can potentially cause burn, and it's not going to work properly because it's not going to get down into your soil either. So if it does get stuck to the leaf on some wet leaf blades or something like that, just wash it off with a hose. The best way to go about it. Probably easier to do it with a hose than your irrigation, because your irrigation isn't always going to wash it off as easily. So yeah, avoid doing it when it's wet, just to make it easier on yourself. But yeah, pretty straightforward like that. We're going to apply this in a second, and make sure we water it in afterwards as well. So they recommend you put down about 10 to 15 mil of irrigation with this product. That's what it says on the label. I'm pretty sure. I'll just double check. How many millimeters of water would you like me to put down with this, please? Yeah, 10 to 15 mil. There we go. Look at that. What a memory I have. So let's do it. Gets too dark, I'll be your light. Be your light. I'll be your light. If it gets too dark. So I'll chuck Matt's irrigation on in a second. He's got pop-up sprinklers that go around the whole yard. You could hand water it in, or use some general sprinklers as well, like some Wobble T ones, or you know, some, what are they called? Impact sprinklers as well if you wanted. Yeah, just got to make sure you get it down with 10 to 15 mil of irrigation if you can. If you can time it just before a rain event, I mean, go for it if you can do that. Just make sure the leaf isn't wet when you're putting this product out. Another quick thing as well, with new lawns, you cannot apply it to new lawns until they are established. So after you've done about 2 mows, you should be pretty good with this herbicide. That's what it says on the label. After 2 mows, you're safe to use it on new lawns. So yeah, that's the way I'd roll with it. But yeah, it's a quick tip. But now let's go water it in with Matt's irrigation. Right, well that's all done. Irrigation going, done like a dinner. So that should last, as I said, 3 months. Depends how much rainfall we get. It could be 2 months. The more rain you get, obviously the quicker it breaks down. And the sun can affect it as well, and how thick the canopy is of your grass as well. Say if you've got a thinner canopy, which means you got more bare spots in your lawn, it will break down quicker as well if the sun is hitting those areas. But yeah, should last 2 to 3 months, which is awesome. You can always reapply again once that pre-emergent herbicide runs out. Good way to tell is if a couple of weeds start popping up. Anyway, done here. Good stuff. Now we're going to go back to my house and put some in the garden beds. Right, so we're back home in the garden beds. As you guys know, I struggle with weeds in the garden beds quite a bit. Biggest one for me really is like through here is where the rye seed is in there. There's still heaps of rye seed through there, so it's going to help prevent that stuff popping back up. Obviously not going to get the stuff that is already existing in the soil like that. Those I'll have to pull out the classic way. Oh, the fun way, boy. Look at the root system on that dirty dog. Boy. Yeah, at least it's going to be safe in our garden beds to stop a lot of those weeds coming up. I sometimes get some issues with some summer grass, which it looks like there's some summer grass coming up already, which goes to show me that our soil temps really are starting to bump up. That's scary, man. It's because this area's got black dirt as well, so it does absorb a little bit more heat, plus it doesn't really get impacted by frost too much through here. But yeah, this area here is only like 15 square meters or something like that, so I do not need a lot. Could technically do it by hand. I'm going to do it with a little broadcast spreader, just put it out across this back section, and I'm going to only do a really light dose on probably only 2 or 3 of those camellia plants just there, just to test and see how it goes, as it says on the label. So again, just make sure you wash it in so it activates. The way it rolls is at least to get out 10 ml of water with this thing. It doesn't take that long. Make sure I get any off the leaves of the plant. Leaves, sorry wife, not leaves. And yeah, it'll be pretty sweet. So I'm keen to see how this works in the garden beds. From the label, it should work really well once I clear everything out that's in here, because there's weeds still in here. Not many though, because I've been on top of it this winter compared to what I normally have been. And yes, I do need to trim those bad boys back. I know, I'll get to them. Right, awesome. So it should cover me for 2 to 3 months. Should cover Matt's lawn for 2 to 3 months as well, which is seriously awesome. Seriously so good. But yeah, thanks guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. This product should be available at Bunnings for you guys to purchase now. Which I always get questions about what products you can get at Bunnings, so it's awesome that there is now Pre-Emergent available there, which you can use on your lawns and in your garden beds as well, which is a massive bonus. Good for me too, because I'm shocking with my garden beds. I need to work on my garden beds this year because they are disgraceful. I'll be honest, they are disgraceful. Anyway, thanks guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And you have a good week.